Hey everybody, let me know if y'all can hear me out there in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. If not, then I'm gonna need to take these earbuds out. But let me know right now. Can y'all hear me in the chat? Somebody let me know y'all can hear me in the chat. I'm gonna get on camera with y'all in a few minutes. Y'all let me know. Can y'all hear me? All right, the audio's good. All right, y'all. We're gonna discuss some stuff. I'm really coming back out tonight because I wanted to get back out there. It's been since June, y'all, since I've done a show, and I really said, you know what, you got to get back out here in these YouTube streets or whatever, talking about Dogman. I've got some new stuff. Hey, Josh, I don't know if you still out there or not. I'm just wanting to holler at everybody and speak to everybody that's in the chat right now. Y'all stick around because I'm getting ready to get on camera with y'all. So y'all give me just a second. But I wanted to discuss some Dogman stuff. I'm gonna be back doing regular shows like I was before. So y'all stick around. Give me a minute and a half. We're gonna go right into this. I'm gonna give shout outs to everybody that's out there in the chat. Y'all hold on just 1 second. Don't y'all leave because I want to talk. And just to let y'all know, all y'all moderators out there in the chat right now, greet everybody as they come into the chat tonight. Make sure people put their comments, and not comments, but their questions or whatever. Any questions that y'all have, put your questions in all caps. Anything that you want to discuss. Anybody who wants to join into this live stream tonight, if you want to get on board or you want to get on camera with me, I'm going to get on camera with y'all in a few minutes. But anybody who wants to join in, share your Dogman experiences, or if you just want to call in on the show, then I can give y'all a number to call so that you can reach me in order to for me to put y'all out there. So anybody who wants to join, if we're already friends on Facebook, I can just send this to you straight on Messenger. But if we're not, then just let me know. If anybody wants to discuss some things, I've got few things that I want to discuss tonight, as it relates to Dogman. Y'all give me like a minute and a half, and we're gonna go right into this. Everybody who's in the chat right now, moderators, make sure y'all greet people as they come in, and then just also make sure y'all let people know to please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And anything that y'all want me to talk about tonight during this live, y'all make sure you put your comments out there because I want to go into it. Anything y'all want to discuss, anything y'all want to talk about, I'm here for it. Y'all give me like 1 minute and we're going to go right into it. Y'all hold on 1 second. Hey. How y'all doing? Crypto Normal Encounters of B Moss. And I'm so happy to see all y'all here in the chat tonight. North Carolina Cryptid Paranormal Project came through to say hello. Thank you for stopping by, Tom. Be More Bigfoot. I don't know if you're still out there or not. Thank you for coming by tonight. Voltron76, thank you for showing up tonight. It was nice meeting you at the conference. Michelle Milner, any issues or whatever problems or sound quality, whatever, y'all let me know. I'm going to go right into this. It's been a minute since I've done a show, y'all. It's probably been since June. I had to take a break. Sometimes when you're a podcast or research or whatever, you get into dogman stuff. At times we get burnt out, like, and I got burnt out because I was like, I've got to take a break. You get to a point to where one encounter is just the next encounter, like the next encounter, and you want that information to come out that is gonna break I don't know what I'm gonna say, like break the field. You want something different than just the average things that you always hear. Well, it was a black German Shepherd type dog, man, and had a dog, I mean, the pointed ears. We want something different. We need more information, and everything is pretty much at one point in time, like, or even still to this day, like, we haven't gotten to that point yet to where we've gotten to the point where it's gotten beyond that, where we've gotten more information than we had when we first started this. But I'm gonna keep giving y'all shout outs right now, and then I'm gonna go. I got several things I want to go into. Richard Cox, thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. Matthew Osborne, Suge, thank you for showing up tonight. Cowboy Fox, I appreciate you. Just have a here. Thank you for showing up. DJ Tyler Radio, hey, how you doing? Thank you for showing up tonight. Anybody that came over from Instagram, y'all let me know that y'all came over from Instagram, because I'm gonna shout y'all out on Instagram too after the show. I appreciate each and every one of you. If any of you that were there at the Paranormal Roundtable second annual Dogman Cryptid Conference, if you were there, then y'all already know that this was like an amazing conference, just like the one last year in the LBL. But the one this year was also equally amazing. I enjoyed it so much, with so many different speakers there. Ron Moorhead, Lyle Blackburn, Ken Gerhardt, Christopher Garitano. I came with like the business. Like, he came with some paranormal stuff. You had UFO researchers. I mean, this was like something really deep. And Josh really showed up and showed out this year. I'm telling y'all, Josh said he gonna take a break. He ain't doing another conference this year. So if y'all missed out, y'all really missed out on an amazing conference. And right now, I feel like um, that reinvigorated me. I said, you know what, you got to get back out there. The fans and the subscribers and the viewers, they want you to get back out there and start sharing stuff. So I got a lot of stuff to share with y'all. And I'm gonna do that here in just a second. I just want to make sure I show y'all my appreciation, because of you members, subscribers, and fans. Like, y'all are the ones who like keep me going. Because if it wasn't for y'all, I really probably still wouldn't even be doing this. Christopher Clough, I think that's you, Sir Cluffy Cluffington, the third. Firebass 93, I think Firebass, you on Instagram. I know y'all, don't y'all leave, like, because I got some good stuff for y'all tonight. Roz Cleveland, thank you, girl. Thank you for showing up. Nice meeting you again at the conference this year. T Girl, thank you for showing up. Zebedee, James M. Rose, thank you for showing up. Lunar Eclipse, thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. We're gonna get into this tonight. Like, for anybody who come in the chat right now, like, I'm just giving y'all's flowers right now. You know how the old people used to say, give them their flowers while they still alive. Give me y'all's flowers right now. Scarborough Sasquatch Station, what's up? Oh, Scarborough been around for a minute. Scarborough been around since back in my first days, when I first got out there, like starting out with Marvin Allen. And Scarborough been around for a minute. Thank you, Scarborough, for showing up tonight. Who else have I missed out on? Marquetta, thank you for showing up, Hunty. I don't want to miss y'all. Kiki Cookerson, thank you for y'all. Make sure, like I said, make sure to let everybody know to like, share, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get into this in a minute, but I'm gonna just tell y'all right now. Nose, thank you. Ona Holly, Man of Light, Greg, what's up, Greg Geraci? Thank you for showing up. Mr. Woods, thank you. Samantha Phillips. Oh my God, I appreciate y'all so much. Cal Night Music, thank you, Cal. Adam DeLorme, thank you for showing up tonight. I think I know who DJ Tyler Radio is now. Tyler and Samantha, I think they're here together. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all, we're gonna get into it. I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk to y'all about tonight. But we're gonna talk about Dogman. We're gonna talk about Dogman tonight. I'm gonna go into like the different theories. I was one of the speakers at Josh's second annual Dogman Cryptid Conference last year. I was there as a panelist by choice, because I was like, well, this is my first time. Let me just watch and see how it's done. Let me see the real gurus at this. Brett Loffer, thank you. Curtis Murray, thank you for showing up. So everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, because I gotta go to work tomorrow, and I know y'all probably gotta go to work and get kids off to school. So I'm not gonna keep y'all forever, but I want to say a couple of things to y'all real quick when it comes to Dogman. And I know y'all done heard. I don't want to be one of those people, but we've only got so much information so far when it comes to that. So I can only share with you what we know so far. But what I can also do is tell you what I know as far as Dogman is concerned, over from the time period of 2013 all the way up to, I'm gonna say, 2020 or whatever. My parents moved out of that house in 2019. We moved in that house in 1985. And I didn't find out about Dogman until it was before 2013, before that first encounter. I've been a subscriber on Dogman Encounters Radio. Brenton Sawin, I think Josh already had his channel back somewhere around that time. Everybody had all these channels, Dark Waters. And so I was subscribed to these channels, but of course, like all of y'all, like I'm still to this day, like I don't care if I'm a podcaster or not. I'm not no different than y'all. Like I'm still a fan, like of listening to people's encounters. But I got to a point to where like I listen to all these encounters and I listen to these shows and I'm subscribed to all these different channels. And I said, you know what? um, I want to get into this because I noticed that on a lot of the shows, like some questions were not being brought up. People weren't always asking some of the things that were the deeper questions that I felt like that should have been addressed or asked. We always asking, what did it smell like? Did you smell anything? Did the woods go silent? It's deeper than that. And so at some point, it should get to a point for all of you also as viewers and subscribers, because you never know if one day y'all are going to be the ones that get out there and have a dog man sighting or encounter. With that being said, it should get to a point to where it's not that you're just listening to these shows anymore for just entertainment purposes. So that's how I got into doing this, because I wanted to take it to a whole nother level. Curtis Murray said, "What happened to Josh?" What do you mean? What happened to Josh? You mean why he's not still in the chat? Josh is a busy guy. Josh, I think, probably just came over to show his support, but Josh is not one of those serial texters or being in the chat and stuff like that when it comes to YouTube and stuff like that. But I appreciate him and thank you for showing up. There's a few things that I want to say too before I go into Dog Man. I want to basically, y'all, we give a moment of silence to those who we've lost just within the last couple of years, last couple of months in the cryptid field. Um, Lord God, rest their soul. Claudia Ackley passed away no, she passed away in June this year. We lost Scott Carpenter. And I'm going to go into a few things when it comes to like the researchers and the people who are eyewitnesses, dogman researchers and stuff like that, and what's happening in the field. Um, who else do we lose? Anybody else in the comments that y'all want to give a shout out to as far as like people we've lost in the cryptid field? Y'all put their name out there because we've lost quite a few in the last few years. Kerry Arnold, I was on his show. I was on his show a couple of times, and I was supposed to be on his show the day after he died. And but what I want to say on it is that when it comes down to researchers, when it comes to people who actually cover certain topics and subjects or whatever on their shows, besides just the entertainment purposes, is getting really deep into it. Like Scott Carpenter was working with Melba Ketchum, and if y'all know, they tried to destroy Melba Ketchum years ago. And y'all, if anybody get out there and they say B Moss tried to commit suicide or anything like that, y'all just know right now I'm not trying to do none of that. So if anything like that happened, just know that the powers that be came and took me out. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist right now. I'm just speaking on what I've seen and what I've seen happen behind the scenes. I've done some shows here where I had what was it? Lance Hightower of Monster 911. It used to be called Cryptid Brothers Investigations. And if y'all, any of y'all who are in the chat right now, I don't see anybody right now. Cassie, praying your numbers get a lot better. Cassie, I'm a person like whether I get 100,000 or whether I have like 4 or 5 subscribers, that's not ever been a thing for me. That's not been a thing for me that's ever been an issue because I don't care about that. And the reason I don't care about that is because I'm just out here to get people on the show and have them to come on and share their experiences and their encounters. I'm not out there for clout or notoriety or anything like that because that's not what it's about. Um, you know, for me right now, I'm trying to decide whether this is going to be my last year or not, because there's only so much you can do as far as getting it out there. Now, but Cassie, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I don't put myself out there as much as I should. I'm not a person that gets out there 2 or 3 times a week, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't have the energy or the time for it. But I'm going to do this because for me, like I'm not even monetized, and I think that that's laziness on my part because I'm too lazy to even try to take the time to actually do that. Um, Mr. Woods said, B Moss, you and others are soft disclosure. No need to worry. Mr. Woods, I don't know how long you've been around. But if you've been around for a minute, it's been all kind of stuff. The powers that be came and commandeered my computer last year when I had Lance Hightower on the show. I don't know if that was last year or this year. They commandeered the computer. They completely started unsubscribing people from the channel in real time. They started coming in and they took complete control of my computer to the point. Matter of fact, when y'all get a chance, anybody question this right now, go to my channel, get on the channel. Go on there, look at the videos, find the video with Monster 911, Lance Hightower. And also, while y'all at it, look up the video with the last interview I did with Scott Carpenter before he passed was back in March this year. When I had Scott Carpenter on the show, I got knocked out of my live stream that day for over 20 minutes. For over 20 minutes. And it got to the point where I couldn't get back in, and then it was saying that I didn't have internet access, which I had full internet access. It completely knocked me out. Abe, let me know if you want to join the chat, and I'll join me on this stream, and I'll send you a link. But I'm just telling y'all right now, when it comes to certain stuff, when you get to covering stuff, Scott was covering things that when it came to, he was in that same Sasquatch genome project with Melba Ketchum, where they were researching and doing the Dogman Sasquatch DNA. And basically, they came to several different things. Now, y'all can look up or Google the Sasquatch genome study, or you can go to Scott Carpenter's YouTube channel, which is still up. God rest his soul. He passed a few weeks ago. But if y'all remember back when Melba Ketchum first started doing this, when Melba started doing this, they, from what I've, some of the stories I've heard, that they actually had tried to bomb her laboratory at one point. They discredited her in the community, and they just pretty much tried to shut her down. In other words, like when it comes down to it, people think, well, you just bring in a body that's going to prove it. They've got bodies, they've got live ones. I can't prove it. I've never been to these laboratories, I've never been to any underground facilities, but I do know that if you really think about it, when these people show up on the scenes, when a dogman or Bigfoot has attacked somebody or killed somebody, who are these secret agencies that show up out of nowhere that nobody knows? They don't give you any credentials. They don't tell you their names. They come in and you do that good cop versus bad cop stuff to the point where they're threatening people. No, you saw a bear. Oh no, you didn't see what you think you saw. You didn't see what you think you saw, and they discredit you, or then they make the people move off their land, or you can't come back to your house right now. Go to Lance Hightower's channel. He's got plenty of stories like that on there. So when it comes down to it and you get too close to the truth, you get destroyed. You get taken out. Y'all, if y'all heard, what's his name? Martin Groves encounter. Martin Groves was a retired, he's a retired police officer now, but he shared an amazing encounter. I heard him talk about it last year at Josh's conference last year, and he talked about it again this year, as well as some updated information that he now has from the LBL still. I think he said the count that they have on record that he has, as far as his research is concerned, 28 people have been killed under strange circumstances by like some kind of weird animal attack. There was a bow hunter that was found like several feet away from his truck in the woods. Y'all, if whoever wasn't at the conference, and I know I'm all over the place because I have so much stuff to share with y'all because I've been gone for a minute, so I'm gonna have to come back, and maybe I'll do another show Friday too because I can't cover everything that I want to cover tonight. Um, all right, Abe, I'm gonna send you a link here. Yep, let me send Abe a link right now. Y'all, let me just tell y'all, I got a lot of stuff to talk to y'all about. We're gonna talk about Dogman. If y'all not familiar with spiritual and cryptic encounters, that's Abe Sears. He's a lot of times in a lot of the cryptic groups, Dogman, and that's his group, Spirit and Cryptid Encounters, on Facebook and his YouTube channel. Abe, check your messenger. I'm getting ready to invite you on right now. But y'all, what I'm trying to tell y'all right now, I'm trying to let y'all know right now that it comes down to this. I'm going to go into a few different topics that I want to bring up and address with y'all. it's a lot of stuff that you guys just don't even realize or understand what's really going on out here in this world. When we talk about the DNA evidence, people say, well, how can you prove that there's a Sasquatch or that it's a Nephilim? How can anybody say that? Well, we don't know what the government has out there. We don't know what they're telling us and what they're not telling us. From everything we've ever heard, y'all, from everything we've ever heard, is that any information that's shared, we find out they've already been doing this stuff like for over 30 years. That some of this technology and stuff, they've already had it for over 30 years before we ever knew about it. They even said they had cell phones back in the day. There's pictures of that. Like, I'm just telling y'all right now, it gets really deep. Primal Cry, thank you for showing up, honey. All right, y'all. So one thing I want to bring up real quick, because I've got so many different areas, and I'm gonna discuss some stuff with y'all. Um, hold on. XXJX, you saying you know all of this. I don't know what you're talking about. This anybody who comes on this chat, be respectful. Be respectful. Cassie said boring and good night. Somebody block Cassie right now because I don't have time for this. She came on Josh's channel last night with the same stuff, and Josh pretty much had to put her in her place too. Matter of fact, Cassie, the person Cassie is, since you want to say stuff like that, we'll put your ass on blast right now. And I don't usually do this, and we're gonna get into it, but I'm gonna put you on blast right now. Like, you basically feeling some type of way. I don't know why, but you basically did your boy abnormal investigations wrong while you keep getting in the comments. And I'll make sure Josh knows. I already told Josh about you last night, mess. I don't have time for it. I'm not here for drama. I'm not here for BS or none of that kind of stuff. I don't have time for that at all. I'm banning you from the channel. Thank y'all, whoever banned her. Thank, because I don't have time for BS. I don't, because I didn't get into it for this. Now, real quick, y'all, what I'm gonna go into. Um, when anybody like y'all moderators that's out there right now, like anybody who come in here with disrespect, because I don't have time for it. I'm a regular person at the end of the day, and I'm doing this like whether it's for your entertainment and you feel like that you. I'm not what you want it to be or whatever, then it is what it is. Start your own YouTube channel. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, I'm not here for clout. I'm not here to like be trying to like kiss nobody's ass. I don't do that. I'm here to share the stuff with y'all. I'm bringing Abe Seas on. I'm getting ready to bring Abe from backstage. But what I want to say, XXJ, like everybody out there, just please be respectful. Be respectful, and simple as that. Moderators don't put nobody in timeout. When they come in here disrespect, get rid of them immediately. I don't have time for it. Don't at all. So I love y'all. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. What I want to say though, look, man, what we need to be trying to understand right now is what is going on with Dogman. What is it? Is it a dogman? Is it a flesh and blood creature? Is it a Nephilim? Is it an interdimensional being? XXJ brought up a few minutes ago. He wanted to talk about werewolves, and we're going to talk about that too. I'm getting ready to bring Abe Seas on because he has a lot of stuff that he talks about when it comes to disembodied spirits, disembodied Nephilim. But what I want to also say to y'all real quick before I bring him on, there's different reasons when I bring up shows or whatever, and I have people on talking about different dogman experiences and different aspects of dogman. What that boils down to is that you have people that believe the flesh and blood, the people that believe that they're supernatural or interdimensional beings, and then you have people that think that they are both, which I feel like they're both because we do know that they can procreate. We do know that they have been killed. We do know that, but at the same time, they can do other things that natural animals cannot do. And I've experienced this myself. I think Primal Cry may have seen some of this. I'm not sure what their thoughts on it are, but I'm gonna bring Abe from backstage right now, and we'll go into this in just a few minutes. Abe, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me on here. I appreciate it. I just wanted to go right into it. It's already like 9:32, and I'm not gonna keep. I'm gonna bring you back still, but you're gonna stay on here with me for now. But I want to bring up some things, and y'all in the comments that have comments or questions that you want to ask, leave them out there in the chat. But I'm gonna go right into this with Abe right now. Abe, like you were at the conference. It was nice meeting you at the conference this year. But I also want to say to you, when it comes to you, like I've seen you, I know you're in my group regularly, and you share your pictures and you talk about the what do you call it, demonic, disembodied Nephilim, dog man, Bigfoot, stuff like that. So I want to ask you, from your standpoint, and real quick before you say anything, Abe, and I want to let y'all know too, for those of you who are out there new right now that don't know my standpoint on it, I'm open to any different belief. So I'm not a person that's going to try to make you believe what I believe. What I believe is what I believe, and y'all are all entitled to your opinion and whatever you believe. But just please be respectful, and keep an open mind, because at the end of the day, there's no experts in this, and we are all researchers trying to find out. Abe is a dog man, Bigfoot eyewitness, also paranormal eyewitness, and other things that I'm going to let him get right into. And I have some announcements to make with y'all later, but because it's already late, I think I'm going to probably do another show on Friday. I wanted to get back out there today just to come kind of let y'all know I'm still in the game. But Abe, how did you get into Dogman and Bigfoot and start having these experiences and stuff like that when it comes to cryptids? How did this start? Did it start off as paranormal in the past? How did it start out for you?
It started with me since I was a kid when I went to Mexico because my brother was sick. You know, he was had high fevers. He would hallucinate, see spiders and snakes. So the doctors in the U.S. didn't have a cure for him. So there was a medicine woman in Mexico that said that she could cure him. If she cured him, the deal was that I had to stay with her for 6 months. So that's what happened. I see my brother get healed. She cracked an egg. Uh, she was rubbing it on him, on his from head to toe. My brother, his arm was kind of messed up in his leg. When she prayed and doing a little crosses all over his body, and she cracked the egg over the fire. A little baby chick came out with a broken wing and a broken leg, and my brother got instantly healed. So I see my mother take my brother, and they left me there. You know, she left me there with a medicine woman. So that's when I started first witnessing. The first time I ever witnessed a DDN, demonic being, would seem to look in beastly form, was when I was a kid with a medicine woman.
Right.
Uh, she would take people. People would go to her that were being spiritually. Some were sick, so they take her to the altar. She had a little altar where she would heal with her hands. Sometimes she'd pull out like barbed wire, uh, glass, scorpion, snakes out of people's body. But there was times when some people were so spiritually bonded or being spiritually attacked where I would see the DDN, what I call the DDN, come out of their bodies. Maybe like three or four of them coming out of the body, and it looks like a shadow form, just like in my pictures. You know, it looks like a shadow, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd be going out of the tent, and she'll be asking me, "Are they gone?" I just point where they're going. I guess you couldn't see it what I was seeing, you know. So that's what I would do. I was like her little helper, you know, and that's how when I first
Well,
experienced
Abe,
what I call the disembodied demonic Nephilim. You know, they have many capabilities. They can change forms. Yes.
so what I want to ask you, because I know that you've got a lot of history, not just with Dogman and cryptids, but disembodied spirits, Nephilim, demonic, um, probably a history of family Santeria and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
probably even seen UFOs and have paranormal activity. Well, you have had paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Do you feel that these things, based on what you've seen, because this is my thoughts on it, Abe, I feel like that these things have the ability to shapeshift and come into. Now, let me preface this because people get confused by this. So I'm not saying that a dog man is not a dog man, What I'm saying to y'all right now is that in my thoughts and my what I've seen them do, I've seen them cloak what I like to call the predator effect. If y'all seen the movie Predator, they can cloak in that way where it looks like a hologram. You can still see their outline, you can still see their image. So Abe is another person. I'm a person right now. Like Abe is bold. He don't care. He's gonna share the pictures and stuff like that. He's like whatever because he understands. He knows. And I see stuff. You have to be a person. And for you, those of you who have not taken pictures of these things, I can take a picture of the car. I can take a picture of the swing set and everything else surrounding the backyard. But the minute I get ready to take a picture of one of those creatures, because you can see them sometimes with your real eyes, and sometimes you can't see them with your natural eyes. Sometimes you can't see them until you have them on camera. But once you start taking pictures of these creatures, you've taken several pictures everywhere else. But when you take pictures of them, it's like they can put up this force field. Do you agree with that, Abe? And they can cause those
Yeah,
pictures to look blurry.
yeah, they cause a magnetic disturbance in which your equipment starts failing. Your senses, if anybody's prays or goes to an inner space like for meditation, you train your senses, right? Your spiritual senses. Well, that magnetic force that they send towards you, or static electricity, it interrupts your senses because they're trying to hide, trying to blend in with the environment, and it messes up your equipment. But that's why some of the pictures or screenshots from my live videos where they've interrupted my recording, but I can still capture them within the live feeds. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
Sometimes my hairs just stand completely up in the air. I hear noises, like for example, snout sounds. I hear growling sounds. I hear somebody talking a different language, not English or Spanish. You know that they come at me like I should have say all at once, like trying to close up on me. So when they start doing that, I start going to prayer because I don't want them to spiritually attack me. I do
Mm-hmm.
go in there prepared. I pray before, during, and after my investigations. And I know there's a lot of people that get upset with some of those pictures, but they have to be there to understand. I wouldn't mind
Absolutely.
taking people with me. I wouldn't mind taking people with me, but I just want nothing to happen to them. I've done that before one time, and people got spiritually attacked, and I don't want nobody to get spiritually attacked. That's not a good feeling. So
I've
that's
got
why
several
I
things
just
too. No, no, yeah, I agree, and I understand that, and I've got so many things to address, and I'm glad that I have you on right now because I think you're one of the other people, which y'all don't understand. Like when you see stuff in groups, for those of you who like watch, see people sharing stuff in groups, those pictures y'all want that high definition picture, the Hollywood version. You're not. I'm not gonna say that there's not gonna be rare times, and I feel like that there are probably some videos and pictures out there that are like that, but for the most part, people who have those pictures, because of the comments they see on the groups and stuff like that, and in the chats and stuff, they're not going to share that because if it's too good, then it's Photoshop or now you got
it's,
AI, and so it ain't
yeah,
no pleasing y'all. Is it? You agree with that? Hey, but you can't
I
please some
agree
people.
with that 100%. A lot of the people that have the root comments, they want to see something that wants to be like movie like, something that's fake. Normally when it looks too real, it's not real, it's fake.
Absolutely,
People
and
in
Abe knows what he's
costumes,
talking about.
people that they're in costume and they don't turn around so they could see the face of the costume. A lot of hoaxes out there right now. uh
It is.
and what's sad about that is a lot of these people that are doing
Absolutely.
this,
You just
that
said it's a
that
lot
are
of
going
hoaxes.
out there, they're getting negative attachments on
Mm-hmm.
them because they're out there. So if they see a spiritual opening of falsifying themselves, it attaches itself to them, follows them home. It's simple,
You know, no, like I was going to agree with you on that because one thing I wanted to say is that, like I brought up to you before, like a lot of us who had these sightings and encounters with Dogman and Bigfoot, before I change over what I'm going to say, I guess what I wanted to say about the pictures, the same thing you say. When I told y'all, and y'all have heard me say this on several shows before. When it comes down to it, on these shows, what it comes down to is that you the Dogman phenomena, the orbs, the UFOs, the lights in the sky, Dogman being seen at the same time, there's a UFO sighting, Bigfoot being, this all correlates. Paranormal activity in the house, dreams and visitations from it. What do you call it? Ethereal Dogman in the room and stuff like that. Sleep paralysis. This stuff is all intertwined. These things,
It's
in my mind, they can manifest as whatever they want to. Almost like in the Native American culture, they talk about skinwalkers and shapeshifters. I think that is exactly what's happening sometimes.
it's all affiliated. It's all affiliated. When the portal opens, it's not just they come in many, and they come in many ways, like orbs, beastly figures, ghost like, shadow forms, and when they come in numbers. They're not by themselves. So if you have a spiritual opening, like for example, you got vengeance, hatred, anger, fear, boom, that's the opening that he uses to attach themselves on you. And then next thing you know, you go into your home. You don't do the right thing by saying, hey, you pray against anything following you to your house. So it's got a fur injury to your home. And I see it all the time where people say, I have a Bigfoot living in my home. I have a Dogman living in my house. Well, it's actually the DDN, disembodied demonic nephilim, that got a free
Mm-hmm.
entry into your house. So what you have to do is take authority over it in Jesus Christ's name. At the same time, place crosses on your doorways and your windows and get it out of your house. But if you don't do that, then it's going to continue to live in your house. So you have to take authority over it
Absolutely.
and send it away. And a lot of
And
people
y'all,
don't do that. They don't know how to do that. They don't know. They give it power.
yeah, they don't know how to do it. Well, a lot of people don't realize that it's all interconnected. As far as a lot of the people who are in this, like I know one of the reasons why Scott Carpenter said that he had kind of somewhat stopped going out in the field. I think he started continued to do videos after the fact, but he stopped going out in the field as much because they started to follow him home. Daryl Denton
Oh
said the
yeah,
same thing, and I know, yeah, and you know as well. I'm sure that some of this
sure.
stuff has followed you home. So you got people out there, that actually go out and they actually habituate these cryptids, and they actually go out and gift them and stuff like that. That's giving an offering. To me, I feel
That's
like
a
that's
sac.
giving an offering.
That's like a sacrifice. Natives used to do that. Uh, Gives us Sasquatches offers, but the shamans know that the Sasquatches were demons. That they're demons that they have stories where they would come and kidnap children. And stuff like that from the natives. But they showed a lot of their people necromancy and uh, witchcraft. You know, and not just
Absolutely.
and not just not in the
And people,
native, but also in the mix in the Hispanic side. Like we're also some kind of native that was taught to
absolutely.
a lot of the people that they made deals. Whether they sold their souls or whatever, but they made deals for powers of the supernatural in which they got deceived.
Are you talking right now when you say that? Are you talking about what they would call like shapeshifters, or I don't want to say that, the SWs? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say the word
Well,
because I'm also a
yeah,
person that believes in that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
I call them disembodied demonic influence, but there's the capabilities they have for people that might not know. They can manifest into anything. They can take a form of you and me, somebody you love, somebody you know, somebody that's not here. They have those capabilities they know what's in your mind. If you're missing somebody that's not here, they can read your mind, so they can manifest to look what's in your mind. If you're a Bigfoot believer, they can manifest to look into a Bigfoot. If you're a Dogman believer, they can manifest to look into a Dogman. If you're missing your mother, your father, they are deceased, they have the ability to manifest into them. Why do they have those abilities? Why do they do it? So long you can believe it's either a Bigfoot, a Dogman, whatever cryptic manifestation, or if it's your loved one, that's the opening to use to attach itself to you or bond you. And I believe that's what's
Absolutely.
happening within the cryptic community. There's a lot of people that we lost this this year, this past couple of years. We lost a lot of people within the cryptic community and paranormal communities. I believe is dealing with this, where they got
Hmm.
bonded and they didn't get the negative attachment off of them, and it made a meal. The DDN, the Disembodied Demonic Nephilim. That's what I call them. You know, everybody knows the Watchers created the Nephilim. Nephilim were destroying Earth. They didn't like humans because we're in the image of God. So then the Great Flood was created to destroy the Nephilim. They destroyed the Nephilim's body, but uh, they continue to live in disembodied form, which is what we witness, which looks like shadows and these beastly things that look like something that's in between our reality into their dimension. They're in between. Uh, so basically, they roam Earth just to find a host. If and when they
Hmm.
find a host
Hmm.
and say, "Hey, mankind," they just don't want to possess a host because they have those capabilities to possess. They want to destroy the host. That's one less soul to make it
Absolutely.
into the kingdom of heaven, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
Now,
When you hear about missing 401 cases and you hear about uh, people committing suicide, that's what's behind that. It is
real
that's what they
quick,
want:
Abe, uh,
total destruction.
real quick, I want to give a shout out to Josh Turner. Josh is in the comments right now. He says, "So good to see the collaboration taking place. This is how the community should function. We help one another and work together." Absolutely, Josh, and we appreciate you for having
Thank
that
you, brother
conference
George.
for this. It was awesome. And I thought it was so beautiful, y'all. Like, I'm not diverting because we're going to keep on this topic, but I'm going to let y'all know right now, like, it was beautiful for me because I saw, like, because at one point in time, me and Josh had beef too, and like Abe and Josh had beef, but it was so beautiful. Like, when I saw them together, like, standing up there talking, like, it was awesome. Like, just because a lot of times in the cryptid community, we all get together and it's like, let me take that back. It's not getting together. It's a lot of backfighting. It's a lot of infighting. It's a lot of I don't know what it is, egos or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like everybody has a right. Like um, you got people who believe that it's straight up flesh and blood. Okay, well that just doesn't fly. Like you have to find common denominators and stuff. So because somebody else believes one way, I'm not gonna hate on them. Kudos to you. I'm proud. I'm happy. I'm friends with Abe. Abe's been a subscriber and a member of my group, and I've been a member and subscriber in his group and channel and all that kind of stuff for a while. We don't always have to agree with everything, but at the same time, you still support your friends or even people who are not your friends. You just don't go out there and hate or attack because nobody has all the answers. Now, a lot of the stuff that I wanted Abe to come up here tonight because there's a lot of things that y'all need to know when it comes to this stuff because you don't understand. When it comes to the pictures, you got people out there that's not taking pictures with their phone, they're taking pictures with high quality cameras and stuff like that. This stuff is just like when you got paranormal researchers who go out there and they've got their batteries fully charged and got two or three different cameras or whatever fully charged, and they go out there and record and it didn't capture anything at all, or the batteries are fully drained and dead. That's paranormal activity. You take pictures, or they take pictures out there and they get some of the same blurred images. That's that frequency. That's what Abe was talking about a few minutes ago. When it comes down to this stuff is not by chance. And if you put it together, Abe talks about the disembodied demonic Nephilim. Well, let's break that down. I'm gonna break it down in my way real quick, and then I'm gonna have Abe to break that down for y'all in his way because he coined that term. But I'm gonna say this: like when it comes to disembodied demonic Nephilim, these are, like he said before, you got people who have aliens or the grays showing up in rooms, and sometimes they show up to people as reptilians. Sometimes, and I don't want to speak it out loud, and because of what I saw in here twice, and I don't want to see it again. Well, I'm gonna say it, and I'm God. Right now, I'm just asking for your protection. The shadow man. I'm not gonna live in fear anymore. I can't live in fear. Holy Spirit, protect me and watch over me. Anybody who's watching and y'all think this is silly, okay, for you, it's silly. It doesn't matter. You think what you want. But at the end of the day, we have paranormal activity that happens and stuff that follows us home because of this kind of stuff when we research, and especially when you get close to the truth. Abe talks about the disembodied demonic Nephilim. What that means that when you got the Native Americans, they might call it skinwalker or a shapeshifter. A shapeshifter, that means that that's something that can shift from one form into another. You will sometimes take, from Abe and me, like I've seen it, Abe's seen it, I'm sure. You've seen them somewhat glitching at times when you take a picture to the point where you're like, is you have Abe, have you ever seen where the face sometimes looks like it's got another face coming over it at the same time and you're trying to figure out like, wait a minute, is this pareidolia right now or is this two faces overlapping each other? Do you understand what I'm talking about, Abe?
Yes.
Have you seen
Yeah.
that or have,
Yeah. When I do my lives, a lot of the pictures that I got are from the screenshots from my lives. But there's times where I witness that where I see the movement within the woods, within the wood line. Uh, some people say it's pareidolia, but when you hear branches breaking and there's movement of something moving, then it's not pareidolia because something is there. So what I do is go back to the video to where I caught the activity, right? And that's how I capture the images because they're right there within that location where I heard the branches breaking, or I heard a disembodied voice say something, or I felt my senses kick and my hair stood up. So that's letting me know there's something around me. So I try to move the camera around as I'm recording, whether it's facing me or facing forward. So I go back to it when I debunk the video, and that's how I capture my images.
Abe, okay, I thought it
Yes,
froze up.
I'm here.
Okay. So, Josh, if you're still out there, if you want to join us, let me know, and I'll send you a link. If not, that's cool too. But I wanted to bring this out because, and like I said again, y'all subscribers, viewers, and fans and stuff like that, when y'all listen to this, at this point, y'all been subscribers and viewers or whatever for long enough time, or listeners, not even subscribers, listeners to all these other cryptid channels, just channels on cryptids in general, because I've probably like subscribed to like 20, 30 channels. But when it comes to it, it is for us, for me and Abe, Josh, and everybody else who had sightings, encounters, and experiences with these things. Then you realize, okay, why? What's going on with this? Is it biblical? Because I'm a Christian. Like I might not be the best Christian, fall short a lot of the time. But at the end of the day, like I don't need the Bible to prove cryptids. We don't
The
need that. I can go back to ancient mythology. So there, all I'm saying is that there's nothing new under the sun. These things already existed.
the
Go
unseen
ahead.
spiritual world is very real. Uh, I've seen them while I was in the military, in the front lines. I call them Diddy in here with the United States, but in other countries, they're called the Degen. They have the same. They do the same things as the disembodied Nephilim. To me, it's the same thing. They're affiliated. They have the same capabilities to manifest, to shapeshift into different forms. At the same time, I want to talk about when somebody says they have a confirmed kill. I was in the military in the front lines of Battle Medina Ridge, and I know what a confirmed kill is. That means that you got some kills, and there's some body bags where those kills uh, went to body bags. So we had a lot of confirmed kills when I was in combat. I know there's people that said that they've killed the dogman and all this, right? But if they don't have a body bag or a a picture of that, right? Then it's just somebody saying something. But a confirmed kill is a confirmed kill where there is a tag that there's something in in the body bag. But I've seen them in the military when we're training. We have night vision in our tanks, so at nighttime when we're training the gunnery downrange, you could see them moving out there in the field and where the pop up targets are popping up. They don't have no heat
Mm-hmm.
signature, but you see something moving like a shadow form out there. So we have to call range control to say there's somebody downrange because we'll see like three of them, four of them, sometimes five of them. So they send somebody downrange to go investigate. But when they go down, they don't find nothing. So I spent 9 years on Fort Hood, and a lot of that happened all the time I was there on all the ranges of Fort Hood. I've seen them standing by the war line on Blackwell multi-use range where I was going to get evaluated. Me and my TC, we witnessed them. They were looking at us. It was two of them. You know, people want to talk about werewolf. You know, I know him as werewolf, right? Lockenthorpe. Some people know him as Dogman. We seen them looking at us from the wood line. Me and my TC, and we looked at each other. It was like 3 in the morning. We looked at each other, and I said, "Did you see that?" And he said, "Yeah, I see that." And then when we looked back, it was gone. They were gone, just like that. And I said, "You know what? We're just going to keep it to ourselves. Sometimes we just got to leave things to live in Mother Nature with Mother Nature." So we kept it to ourselves, but we witnessed them, in which it raises a question: Are they flesh? Are they spirit? It leaves that question. But if it listen to me when I say this, if I can laze on a rat downfield or a cat or a dog on the range, and it's got a heat signature. That means that it's living, right? That it's got a heat signature.
Keep talking,
But
Abe.
this
I'm
this
still
this
here. Just keep
DDN,
talking.
when we try to laze them downrange, they didn't have a hit signature. They were just black. You know, like Sister Bettina Moss. Maybe they're in a different frequency, or they have a cloak of some sort that is preventing us to be able to laze and see their heat signature.
Abe, real
But
quick.
yes,
Dark. I think this is Mr. Woods. I don't know if you're Dark Woods or not, but there's a question for you, Abe. Has Abe seen the black eye shields on Dogman or Sasquatch?
I've seen something like Sister Bettina Moss said on a tank trail when we're coming from Clabber Creek, going back to Fort Hood, back to the mortar pool. We were going down the tank trail, and I had my night vision on, and my driver had his night vision on, and there was something big that went right in front of her tank, and it was glitching. It was changing different pixels, like it had a short or something, and it was like glitching real bad. And we hit the brakes because we seen the different color pixels pass right in front of us. And my driver was like, "Hey, Sarge, do you see that?" You know, I said, "Yeah, I seen that." So I grabbed my pick handle, jumped off the tank, and I looked on the ground to see for any tracks, but I couldn't find no tracks because it's so thick and dust that you can step on it, it'll cave right back in. You know, because of the weight of the tanks. So I just told him, you know what? Put on your headlights. Let's get the hell out of here. And we kept it amongst ourselves. We didn't tell nobody about it. Now it was too tall to be a person. So was it the government? You know, since we're in a government facility base, was it the government having somebody training out there with this new cloak device? I don't know. Or was it
Yes.
or was it something that was reptilian or dogman or Bigfoot that had this special cloak? Uh, I don't know. All I know is we went back and we never talked about it again. But it was massive. It was
Uh,
pretty big. It was like the tanks are pretty tall off the ground. I say it was like 7.5, almost 8 foot tall.
And y'all, I'm sorry if I don't get y'all's questions quick enough, because I'm listening to Abe, and I know I'm bad a lot of the times about. I used to like always be looking at the chat. Settle down, Chanel. Bad about looking at the chat, but y'all got a lot of good questions out there. And I can't find it. I wanted to put it up on the screen, but the question from hold on, I just saw it a few minutes ago. It's from Richard Cox. He said, Betty and Abe, do you believe that once you have a cryptid encounter, you develop a sixth sense? My encounter left me that way. What do you think about that, Abe?
Yes, I mean when you experience something horrifying, what I experienced in Elms Grove, it wanted me, it wanted to destroy me. It was coming at me physically and spiritually. You know, once you experience something like that, and it's like you lose connection to reality because your family is not believing what you're saying, your friends are not believing what you're saying. So the only thing you have is yourself and whatever faith you have. You know, so you're always going to remember what you went through. But I thank God that He was there for me. But man, I went through a spiritual battle there in Elms Grove for about, I would say, 8 9 years, fighting spiritually. There was times where, imagine this, at least when somebody comes at you in a physical manner, right? It doesn't matter what kind of animal it is. You're If you see it and you have a weapon, you're able to fight against it. But when it comes at you invisibly, unseen, and he has the capability to hit you, and you fly 4 or 5 feet, and you get up, and then you hear like stomping, like something's running towards you, and hits you frontal, and you're getting banged around, beat up by an unseen, invisible force. That's what I went through. You know, we can see it in many ways. You know, if it's invisible, what could it be? It could be demonic, like Sister Bettina Boss, something with a cloak. But that's what happened to me in Elms Grove, and that's why I shared the. It's You're never the same. You pick up a sixth sense. You always want to know more. You want to know the truth. You know, you go and investigate it. You get curiosity, right? You want to know if what you witnessed was real, what you witnessed was just in your mind. But that's why I built my groups to get my evidence out there, to place it there from the when I went through what I went through in Elms Grove to now. That's what I do. You know, even till now, I still do. It's never the same because you're going to remember what happened. There's times when I'm
Yeah.
asleep and he takes me back to Elms Grove to the mobile home. He takes me back to the park. He banged me back to the areas where I got shoved off the cliffs. It takes me time to the times where I got hit and I flew 4 or 5 feet. Man, I've seen so many things over there. When you talk about UFOs, orbs, all that, it's all connected. You know, it's all connected. But I believe it has to do because if they do have this supernatural powers, they have the abilities to mimic. They kind of remind me of Lodi, or what's the name of that Greek mythology character, Lodi, or Thor's brother. You know, they're tricksters. They
Loki.
have those capabilities. Loki, they have those
Yeah.
capabilities to deceive you. They can turn into an animal. I remember one time
Hmm.
there was a fox sitting in my yard, and he was looking at me, and it seemed odd to me that the fox wouldn't run away from me. So I started following the fox, and he went around the mobile homes, and I followed around the mobile home. Next thing you know, it's not the fox no more. I see an old man that's barefooted. You can see his legs. He's wearing like a fur, something up here, and I see a fur on his back, and he's like naked. So I'm like, where did this guy come from? Where's the little fox I was seeing, right? So I start following him. I follow him all the way out of the park, out into the back roads of the mobile home park, and this is like around 2 3 in the morning. You know, so I'm following him, and it's like he never turns back. I'm just following him. I'm like maybe 10 feet up, 10 15 feet away from him. He go along the fence, and I'm looking at him. He goes behind a bush. So I'm waiting for him to come behind the bush. He don't come up behind the bush. What comes behind the bush is a Saint Bernard, and he runs to another bush. So I'm looking at both bushes, to see if the old man's gonna come out or the Saint Bernard. But then where the Saint Bernard was, a bird flew. So I went to where the bushes were to see if I could find the old man or the Saint Bernard, and there was nothing there. So that's the kind of activity that were captured there in Elms Grove. For those
I got a
that
question
are,
for you, real.
go ahead.
Well, more of a comment, and I want to hear your
Yes,
thoughts on
that's
that.
fine.
And before I ask you that, because I got so many places to go with this, and I know I waited till like 9 o'clock to do this show tonight because it took me forever to get myself together for this. But Abe, what I want to know is like, because we're not finished. I want to take this last question from this lady, but we're not finished. Can you come back again Friday and or Saturday, and so we can continue to talk about this because we
Oh,
got a
sure. That's
lot of stuff to cover.
sure. That's no problem. That's my
All
mission.
right.
Try to help as many people as possible. You know, that's what I do. This is what I do.
I want to say Suge said I had a demon in my bedroom doorway that was flipping through different faces until it found one that evoked a response to me, my father who had passed away. Are you familiar with this kind of stuff, Abe? Or what do you think about that?
Yes, that's very true. It happened to me. We're there in Elms Grove where the dog was barking outside. I went outside and I seen the lady sitting on my neighbor's porch. So I go near the fence and I'm looking, and the lady stood up from the porch and walked down, and she's looking at me. I'm looking at her, and I'm like saying, "No way! There's no way! There's no way!" So I start praying to our Father right off the bat because I knew there was no way. The form it took was the form of a mother. The reason I say it was no way it was her is because my mother had been deceased since 1985, and this was 2015. So I started praying against it. But yeah, it tries to find that opening, even if it takes the form of a loved one. That he wants to find an entry. That's what it does. So you know your parents
Absolutely.
have already crossed over. What you do is you say, "I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. Leave my house. Take authority over it." That's what you do.
Mr. Woods, I'm thinking you're Dark Woods because I know Primal Cry was here earlier tonight. Mr. Woods, hit me up on Messenger after the fact because I still got to get you set up. Abe, so me and you going to talk too because I need to find out. We're going to set it up. I'll message you a few minutes after the show. It's late, y'all. I got to get up early in the morning. I'm not finished with Abe. I'm not finished with this discussion. Like, I've been gone since June, and I've got so many areas of discussion about Dogman, disembodied Nephilim. I've got so much, the paranormal, shadow beings, and Abe has experienced all of that. And then I'm gonna probably have Abe on a show to talk about sleep paralysis, Santeria, all these different things, skinwalkers, all this kind of stuff I don't want to talk about. And because I'm talking about some of this right now, and I don't, y'all
We
can
can say a
think
little
that I'm
prayer,
being
Sister Bettina,
superstitious.
if you want to. All right, we can say a little prayer right now
Yeah, yeah,
before we
let's do
go.
that because I already know. Yes, please, let's do that.
Heavenly Father, at this time we would like to pray everything that we talked about for nothing negative to follow anybody. So I'm placing heavenly crosses upon all the viewers, heavenly crosses on their doorways, on the windows of the home. We tie, bind, and rebuke any negative energies that are trying to interfere or try to enter our bodies. We tie, bind, and rebuke them, and any succubus, incubus, or handmans, we tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus' name. You're not welcome in Sister Bettina's house. Uh, she's taking authority over you. Leave at this time. This I pray in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. And I really appreciate that because, like I said, I've seen that in here twice now. And there's been other people who have seen things when it comes to this shadow man. And so I'm not comfortable with that. But I want to say somebody had something to say to you before we go. Okay, so Abe, in a few minutes, I'm gonna hook you up with Rob Voss, who's on in the comments. He said, "Abe, we need to talk. I'll reach out to you." I was on Abe's show. I can't remember his partner's name that's with him on his show on their podcast, but I think I mentioned you to him before, Abe. So I'm gonna set y'all up together to reach out and talk after the show.
Okay.
We're not finished. So, Abe, I will reach out to you on Messenger in a few minutes. We're gonna get this set up.
Oh,
Mr. Woods, I think that's Dark Woods. Dark Woods, I'm gonna reach out to you as well, because I still haven't gotten you. Um, I still haven't gotten you scheduled yet. Yes, Spooky with Kooky Spooky 73. Yes, I'm wearing a PR T-shirt. Josh gave me that. Shout out to Josh Turner who was in the comments tonight. He gave us a shout out. But like I said, y'all moderators, like I appreciate y'all for everything y'all do. Like really, I'm not about, and I'm sorry, y'all. We Christians and stuff like that, but even Jesus flipped over tables at times. And I'm gonna come up out the box and come about myself at times because people will make you come about yourself. I don't play that. Do not come
Yeah,
over here with no mess. Don't come over
you
here with
know,
no mess.
Sister Bettina, what it is sometimes is that it's not really the people. They might have an attachment on them. Is using them to do that to disrupt the message that's being said. So is it, that's why I don't hate nobody in any kind of way. I have no anger towards nobody, even if something negative comes out of their mouth, because they might have a spiritual opening which are being used to come up against us spiritually. So I just pray for them. You know, I
Absolutely.
pray for them to
That's a good point.
awaken.
No, I agree with you 100%. But like when people, but see, the same person, like, and I'm not being messy. Like, I'm just the same person came over
Hmm.
here tonight talking about this is boring. Good night. Okay, good night. Bye. This is not an airport. No need to announce your departure and what is departure and whatever landing. Get go without letting
I could.
anybody know. We don't need all that. I don't need mess because
Uh,
at the end of the day, like if you don't like it, then don't come over here. That's because I look at it from a standpoint like I'm not just a dogman eyewitness or a researcher. I'm also a regular person, and so when y'all comment, some people don't think I'm not being messy, but I'm just saying like I'm still gonna talk to you like I would if you my cousin, sister, auntie, or anybody else. Don't come over here with that mess. Matter of fact, bye Felicia. Bye. Get out. I don't have time for it because I'm here to share information. If you want to come over here with some mess, then I'm not going to entertain or interact you and go back and forth with you. You come over with that, peace, deuces. That's how I feel
yeah,
about it. So we don't have time for
yeah,
that. I don't have time for that. And I don't know, and I don't know any of these people. Like I appreciate the fans and subscribers, but at the same time, I don't know anybody on a personal level for anybody to feel like they can come over and attack and stuff. We don't have time for that. We don't.
and another thing, guys, if the government does know of the existence of all this that we're talking about. They know about this, just like the government knows. The churches know, you know, about the existence of everything that's written within the Bible and other texture, other books. They know what's around us. There's a lot of control, mind control right now. A lot of that unseen war has control right now over our government and other governments.
Absolutely. And just like y'all know right now, like AV too, when it comes to like the UFO phenomena and stuff like that, they've known about UFOs for ain't no telling how many years. Like they've known about it, but then they just here finally recently, just now finally admitted it. Some of y'all need to use common sense too. It doesn't at some point y'all should be like, why does it take the media or the government to tell you, oh yeah, aliens are real? It's been evidence out there all this time. The same way you don't need for the government to tell you the dogman and Bigfoot and the other creatures are real. There's enough evidence out there to support it already. And so, why do you need that? Like, they are going to tell you what they want you to know, as they say, on a need to know basis. And anything that
It's
they
because they
don't
want
want you to know,
control. They want control.
absolutely.
Just like in the times before, the pharaohs had control over the slaves or people, the one that control like that, same kind of control. They don't want nobody to awaken
Yeah.
spiritually.
So I'm gonna tell y'all, like, I'm gonna have Abe back on here. Be more Bigfoot about ear ringing. I ain't never had the ear ringing be more Bigfoot, so I can't really speak on that. I think I've heard people
Yes,
have that ear ringing when it comes to alien encounters and stuff. What do
that's
you
what
know
happened
about
to
it, Abe?
me. Yeah, it happened to me when I took this latest photos. I had a sharp ring in the ear that I had to leave. It was hurting so bad that it felt like it was trying to attack me. Like it sent like a ultra, like a sound, and it hurt my ears real bad. So I had like a earaches for about 3 days after that. Some kind of sound. They just kept on hurting my ears. Kind of like a low pitch sound that is so sensitive that it sounds real loud in your ears. Yeah,
And you know,
bing.
what were you seeing at that time when you heard that sound? Was that a cryptid or what going on there?
Yes, when I captured all those images of what was near me. Yeah, I believe it was dealing with what was there, the DDN, or if it was scripted. What I captured in those photos, that's what sent that wave to it sent like a magnetic. uh, sound with to hurt my ears. I guess to block my senses, or try to attack my senses, because your ears is part of your spiritual senses. So it tried to attack me that way. I believe in the picture, it was by my ears and my nose and my mouth. I have a picture where I have black that's on my nose and my mouth and my ears. It was, and trying to go through my tear ducts too. So it was trying to bomb me in that way. So that's when I left. I said, you know what? Let me go. I started praying. I started saying the Our Father, because I feel like I was being spiritually attacked. So I got out of there.
Ab- Absolutely, because they don't want it when you get too closer to the truth. And so Scott's life and interest said, "What is Abe's channel? Abe, what is the name of your channel?"
My name of my group is Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I got it on Facebook and on YouTube. What I do is I share my videos on YouTube.
All right, so
A-
y'all go over to YouTube, not YouTube. Well, YouTube
And I have
Encrypted and Spiritual Encounters.
short reels on TikTok also under Abe Cias.
Um, Somebody asked are wolvers totally different from dogman, like spiritual forest beings? I heard people talk. I don't know wolvers. I don't know DC Joey. I don't know if you're talking about the wolf creatures, as some people call them, and then dogman. Abe, is there a differentiation there, or is it the same thing?
I believe it's all dealing with the same, since it's all dealing with witchcraft and necromancy. It's all dealing with the same in nature.
Mm-hmm.
They have all those
And the same.
capabilities. It was taught to the natives, and it just went from generation. It's been going from line to line. I'm more sure there's deals that are placed from my ancestors from before me. So you have to cut those negative ties, so it won't follow you from generation to generation. But with me, as I'm spiritually gifted, I have to live with it. Live with it.
And Abe, real quick, but y'all, I'm bringing Josh on. Abe, I got one more question for you. Sharon Lane asks, "Have you experienced the loud metallic sounds before sighting?" I know I have. Have you experienced that?
Yes.
That loud. It sounds like a loud. I've always explained it like a loud metallic crash. It sounds like a loud metallic dumpster that's been dropped
Yeah.
from thousands of feet in the air. Concrete.
I hear that sound, the dumpster sound. I've heard the sound of what seems to be like a weed eater or a lawnmower. Also, is making a sound like a weed eater or a lawnmower, but they can mimic voices or mimic sounds. They do that. That's what they do.
Josh, welcome to the panel. Thank you for joining us. Josh show last night, and Josh addressed a lot of these things. Can you hear me, Josh? I don't know, Josh. I'm with y'all. I'm checking the audio with Josh Turner from Paranormal. Josh, can you hear us? We'll give him a few minutes. Somebody leave a comment down there and let Josh know in the messages his audio is off. Josh,
I heard something.
his audio is not coming through.
It should be on now.
Yes, it's on now, Josh. We can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm here at my study at my house because what Abe, just to expound upon what Abe was talking about, and we were supposed to be recording with Melba Ketchum. We got about 15 minutes in, then something happened. The script, like all the equipment turned off, which is really weird. And Melba had talked to me about how that could happen yesterday, and I was like, okay, well let's try to get it done. And we had it planned out. Well, the person that I was supposed to record with yesterday, it fell through, which is weird. And it was a Native American guy named Craig we were supposed to be recording with, and somehow things got screwed up, and I had something come up with my job, and he was going to give me a bunch of information about skinwalkers and spiritual stuff, and And I was telling Anthony and my wife, and I was like, it seems really weird that this stuff's popping up. And then something popped off with my job. And again, tonight, I almost didn't get to record. We got it ironed out. And then I go upstairs. And in the 3 years that I've been at that studio, I've never had problems with the power outage or anything like that. Now, I've had some weird stuff happen with certain guests like Joe Barger and Martin Groves. But tonight, we get the second time we started with Melba. We got about 30 minutes in, and then all the power went out completely. So the weird thing is, though, if it's a power outage, why did all the equipment just malfunction, and then all the electricity, everything went out in the whole building? So,
are you talking about last night, Josh? You talking about last night?
No, this was tonight. Last night I had something come up where I couldn't record with the guy I was supposed to record with, and then tonight. A bunch of weird stuff happened in the studio, like the equipment malfunctioning, and then the electricity going out. So two different times. Like we got 15 minutes in, then we started over, did 30 minutes, and then yeah.
I meant to message you last night because I was over there in the chat during your live, and it kept glitching out. Like your show never used to like keep buffering and buffering and buffering. Mm-hmm. I think a few other people have said that in the comments, and I told you at one point, Josh, I had Lance Hightower on the show. I told you when you get into deep stuff or stuff that they don't want you to talk about, I said the powers that be is going to start watching you, and they're going to start commandeering your computer and shutting stuff down, because they shut my internet down. Watch the episode with Scott Carpenter. They shut me out of my own live stream for over 20 minutes.
Let me tell you guys something that's weird too. I wake up this morning and, I don't sleep a long time. I only get about 5 hours of sleep on average because I have a lot to do. But I got up at 11 a.m. After going to bed at 6:30. And so I was pretty tired. And I looked down and I saw the numbers on my YouTube. And I was like, when I went to bed, they were at 27,698. I woke up and they were at 27,679. And then right now, we're just back up to about to cross over to 27.7. I've been monitoring the YouTube numbers because Martin Nunley and a couple other YouTubers have told me that there's something going on with their subscriber numbers. I don't know about views either, but I'm pretty sure I had like 10,000 something on one of these videos, and now there's only like 8. And I'm like, so I asked Anthony, and I was like, he's my AV guy. And I messaged Christopher Jordan too, and I was going to, ask him just in case maybe something's going on here that I don't understand, electronically. But my equipment's malfunctioning and all kinds of weird stuff's happening, and I just don't understand. And then the numbers are all over the place. We had 9,100 in the Facebook group, and now I wake up and there's only 9,000. So it's like, who are all these people that are just deciding? Like, because I know if you're like me. I mean, I just look at it at a pragmatic standpoint. Yes. I'm not going around and unsubscribing. Oh, I'm not watching that anymore. Let me go unsubscribe. Like, who does that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And
right.
I don't know, man. And people like your show, it seems like it should have more views and it should have more of an audience. And I don't really understand like why some of these smaller, YouTubers and podcasters don't get more credit. And people, they don't like the view that you put out or whatever, they're free to scroll on and go somewhere else. But they, for some reason with you and I, Bettina and Abe, I guess you could put him in there too. They feel the need, like something compels them in their dark, beady little soul to stop and tell us what they think about us and how much they hate us and how stupid we are. And Abe, you hit the nail on the head when we were at the conference.
Well, I got that tonight.
It's a spiritual warfare. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to say what they're going to say. And another friend of ours who had mentioned, he mentioned on his show even, and he told me in private that it's like an assembly line. They're going to just keep coming, and then they try to make war between us too. And we're all guilty of falling into that trap and being ridiculous. Abe is very much like me. He's an alpha male. He doesn't take people's crap, and so we got into it. But it was because someone who actually showed up at the conference I was shocked that they did, but that particular person started that in between me and Abe, but he also started stuff between you, Bettina. He went after you trying to get me to incite, and he just seems like one of many people in the community that just go around trying to cause problems. And there's really no rhyme or reason to it. Like, they're not getting anything out of it. It's like they're being puppeteered. So all you can really do for those people is pray for them and hope that they find the light and find Christ. And because I was talking about it yesterday, that Christ is the only way to the Father. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's Muslim. I'm not bashing his religion or saying that he's right or wrong, but he was proselytizing to me like he always does. And I said, look, man, there's only one way. Okay. I'm not telling you that you go up or down, sideways or backwards, but the only way to get to where you're supposed to be is through Christ. And that's how you find the true one living God. And I believe that with all my heart. And I've said that many times. And people, they want to argue about, whether or not these spirits do what they do, whatever, or Dogman is a spirit. I tell them this, that Dogman is very much flesh and blood, but it's also very much spiritual. We are a mixture of spirit and flesh. We cannot come out of our bodies and manipulate things like they can, but they can do that. And how they do it or why they do it, I don't know. I have no clear way to tell you. All we know is from the thousands of reports we've covered that Dogman and Bigfoot and all these other cryptids, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of other weird, unstable stuff out there. They are able to manipulate time and space around them. And how they do it, I don't know. Like last night show, we did it wasn't a live show. We have a chat, but it's the pre-records, and it's basically the podcast, and it's on 15 different platforms, but it's on YouTube too. And there was a story. I think it was the second one we talked about, this girl out here in Pflugerville, and she told the story of seeing this creature that looked very much flesh and blood. He was going after a deer. And I say he, I don't know if it's a male or female, but it was going after a deer, but it elongated itself and stretched its arm out to clip the deer's back hoof. Now, two things weird about that, and I want your opinions on this. Why would it, if it's a purely spiritual creature, be attacking and trying to eat a deer? But then second of all, a purely physical creature is not going to be able to elongate and stretch itself out like that and manipulate the time and space around it, because they said that it looked like it was almost like a bowl shape behind it. Like if you were to break a bowl, cut it in half or whatever, and just that's the way they described it to us, like half a sphere. And so that was like the blur that was around this creature. And so it was manipulating time and space, or it was something where your eyes were able to catch it at the right time. Maybe the Holy Spirit opened their eyes to it. I don't know. Oddly enough, though, last night after the show and it was over with or whatever, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. But I was driving like maybe an hour afterwards with my wife, and we saw a deer with a broken back leg walking. And I thought, that is so odd. That on that particular episode, it's almost like you're being shown something, Now, why they do what they do, I have no idea, other than to take energy or just to be evil, to scare people. There's that fear element. But you give me your thoughts, guys, on what you think what was going on with that woman's encounter, because a physical creature, yeah, or spiritual, yeah. I mean, both. I mean, how?
I'm gonna let Abe answer that first. Abe, you go into that.
Brother Josh, the thing I can say to you is the thing I can say to you is the offspring of the Nephilim, they hated all of God's creations. Mm-hmm. The deers, animals are God's creations. God created everything that's all the animals that's in the world. But I believe what they do is they're trying to possess the animals also to destroy them, just like they possess people to destroy them. When you hear about people committing suicide, God rest their souls, or people disappearing in the woods, I believe that's what they're doing. They're possessing and get rid of the body, and that's one soul they collect. And you're lucky that the deer didn't come your way to hit your vehicle, because that's what happened to me one time going to Houston, and I seen the deer coming straight towards my window, and I did the sign of the cross on it and went a different direction. But I believe that it was being possessed to come and hit the vehicle,
That I believe that too, and I believe they can be scared into going towards your vehicle.
Yeah.
I've gotten reports. There was a guy driving up in Idaho, in the mountains of Idaho, and he was going pretty fast, and he saw this black. Well, the way he described it was like a ball, and it was just like it rolled through a fence, and he saw these deer all running from it, and they all ran out in front of his vehicle, and he swerved, and it had just started to snow, and thank God he didn't wreck. But he didn't see what the ball. It was just a black, furry-looking ball. He didn't see any features, but to me, that could have easily just materialized into a Bigfoot or a Dogman, and people would say, well, that's not the way it works. Well, I don't know how it works, but nobody really does, and nobody has all the answers. But I can tell you this, in that same area, not far from where he lives, I had a report that I covered years ago. I looked it up, and it was of these Dogman creatures chasing them kind of down this spiraling canyon. And there was a trail there, but they were able to jump down quicker than these hikers. Only thing is these hikers had about 300 yards on them. But these things were closing the distance, and they got away. And I covered that story before. And when you look at that area on a map, that's only about 20 miles from there where the guy saw the black blur that was chasing the deer, which they pushed them out in front of their vehicle. Of course, this thing doesn't continue to run. It just kind of moves back up out of the way, which makes me think maybe that, this thing was trying to manipulate. Now, the reason that this story was important to me is not just because that particular incident. He had multiple things that had happened involving Bigfoot, and most recently what may be described as the Dogman. And he asked me about their territories and things like that. Do they overlap? And I told him, yeah, at times they're found in different areas, but they will overlap. And I think that it also depends on what you're dealing with. Now, is there this trickster demonic element there? Possibly, yeah. And these things take form of whatever's going to make you afraid. Well, the scary thing was that his girlfriend was having like encounters with these Bigfoot, and she was very much like, oh, they're friendly, they're nice, this is this nice friendly group or whatever, they're not doing anything. And she was giving them like fruit baskets basically. And then when that stopped, when he said, don't do that anymore because they're coming close to the house, and he caught a glimpse of one that scared the crap out of him. He had never seen anything like that before in his 34 years of life. Then he says, we need to stop feeding these things. You're gifting these things. I don't know what they are, and I'm scared of them. And she's trying to convince him, well, don't be afraid. It's completely okay. They're not, and that's not okay. And then when I talked to this guy, a couple days later, he sees this wolf-like creature run across the road when he's with his daughter, bringing her back from volleyball practice. And then this black blur thing that went through that fence and then chased those deer straight up almost into his grill. And it could have been a bad accident. Now, he asked me if that was all connected. I said, absolutely, it's all connected. Those Bigfoot or whatever they are could be anything. I mean, it's they can manipulate the world around them in ways we can't possibly.
They left an opening. The wife left the opening by gifting them, so they have a free opening to go into their house and mess with all the family members. That's why those things are happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to cleanse their home.
Yeah, the whole property.
Real quick, what I wanted to say, like to answer your question on that, Josh, that my thoughts on it, you were asking about what I think about the whole fact or the aspect that they're able to be flesh and blood and at the same time still eat stuff. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, the original was from a story last night that we did on the podcast, and it was a woman's encounter outside of Pflugerville, Texas, years ago when she was a child. It was about 20 years ago, I believe. And she said that this thing had her and her friend were driving when she had just gotten about a year after she got her license, I believe. And so she was a teenager. So it's not hard to manipulate and scare a teenager, who's never seen a whole lot. But she had seen this thing before when she was a kid a couple times. And so she sees it run across the road, and she said it was almost cartoonish looking, the way it moved its body. But she saw this.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you think that thing was... I
got an answer for you on that.
Go ahead.
I think, so people have this thing in their mind where they think that flesh and blood creature cannot have supernatural abilities. For those of you, and I'm going to say this right now because you have to do a disclaimer for people out there because they think that you're trying to make them believe whatever. I'm not. I'm going to put it to y'all like this. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but this is my personal thoughts on this. There's nothing but the sun. Even in the Bible, when, what was it, Lot? When Lot, was it Lot and his wife? When, I think it was Lot, but y'all Google it and look it up. But when he had these angels that came over to his house, and when they came over there, an angel or a demon, that is a spiritual creature, that is a spiritual being. They came to his house, they came in human form, and they came in, they're supernatural creatures. They ate dinner with Lot and his family. Dinner with them, and they were also able to see my phone, my computer glitching right now. Now they don't. So when it comes to that, spirits can eat. Spirits can eat, and I don't know who told y'all that. I guess there's some stuff that's in the Bible that are scriptures in there, and I know there's discrepancies and there's things in there that is sometimes contradictory to the point. And I'm not a person that's going against my spirituality. I'm just saying that there's things in there that make questions, because when it comes to it, you know that within certain cultures, you have like the African culture and some of the Caribbean cultures and voodoo and stuff like that, when you have people who actually leave an offering, a plate of food out to spirits, and they actually can eat that food, come back, and the food is gone. So when it comes down to that, spirits can eat. Now, what God said in the Bible was that the spirits in heaven don't have to eat or don't need to eat. He didn't say that they couldn't eat. Because in Job, not only did they sit down and eat a meal with him, they also killed, according to the Bible, they killed like several thousand people that night, like a few minutes. And apparently the people who lusted after them, they seen them in a physical form. Men there lusted after those angels, so they had a physical form that you were able to lust after, which means that spiritual beings can take on a flesh and blood body. And so that's when Abe talks about the disembodied demonic Nephilim, that's a disembodied spirit that is looking to take on a flesh and blood body, because they were never demons. Like, so people have an idea like in their mind, and I told Abe I'm bringing it back Friday because I started this at 9:00 tonight. You know, I don't like going live late like this, but I'm bringing it back because we got a lot of stuff still to talk about. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, there's several different entities out there, whether you want to call it jinn, interdimensional beings, aliens. These things can show themselves to you however they want to show themselves. One day it might be a dogman, one day it might be a Bigfoot, and sometimes it's none of that. It is a shapeshifter. Let me unmute Abe.
It's shapeshifter.
Abe, go ahead.
The reptilians, shapeshifters that can manifest to look human.
Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of them now. I was talking to James Bartley the other night, and he was talking about how we're seeing an uptick in people seeing the slitted eyes, this reptilian form. It's like they're either, one of two things is happening. They're either letting themselves slip because they're so arrogant that they don't believe that people believe it, that nobody's waking up to it, which they're wrong about that. Or there's something happening where they're not able to keep their form. The
veil is lifting.
That's right.
And more people are awakening spiritually that we're able to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are seeing them on air, like the lady on the airplane. People seeing them on buses. I just got a report for somebody's kid at school saw the bus driver that looked like that. It's kind of like that movie They Live. Now, I did a 3-part with Garetano, and y'all know Christopher Garetano was a filmmaker who was at the conference. The guy's a really smart guy. And we talked about how they release this information through horror movies and through science fiction because it's called fiction. And people think, well, this isn't real. You know, this is a fictional thing. And if you guys have a chance, go check it out. When me and Garetano are talking on those podcast episodes and we have them on YouTube too. He explains a lot, like how, you know, the movie industry and the business itself is geared toward that. And, you know, it's like giving you soft disclosure, but then people point out, they say, well, this is stuff that happened on a movie or a television series. So this can't be real. This is V, this is that show. Remember we were in the 80s, and V came out with the reptilians and all that. Everybody's like, that's a bunch of crap. Oh, this is The Howling. You're making up stories, or you're listening to people who are making up stories. No, those shows were just either tapping into a vein of reality and calling it fiction, or they were just doing what they think that they're supposed to do because there is a spiritual law and they're trying to circumvent that. Now, somebody asked me one day, why would they do that? Well, this is the question. Answer that question. His name is James, and I'll answer your question right here on this show, James, and I'll point it to you. The reason that they do that is because they're evil. And very simple, they circumvent any law that's supposed to be in place. Now, if we didn't have God's grace over us, we'd all be possessed, because we don't have the power to actually resist these entities, because they are a little bit higher than us on the food chain. The reason that we're able to resist and that we have the ability and the authority is because God sent the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ to protect us and keep us from their abilities and powers. That's why you don't play with divination, you don't mess with fortune telling, and you don't mess with Ouija boards, because I tell people you're just opening up a doorway that you can never close. And you go deep sea fishing, which I've done a couple times in my life, and you'll be out there trying to catch a marlin, and you might catch a blue shark because you don't know what's going to hit your bait. I'm not a big fisherman. I'm not saying, but I have done it. And it's like you're looking out into the depths of the ocean. You don't know what's going to come up out of there. And that's exactly what happens when you dabble with the spirit world.
I agree, Josh. 100%.
So that's my,
almost keep going, Josh. What were you saying?
Holly M says, I hated V. Scared the living crap out of me. Because there's something primal in us that makes you afraid of a wolf. It makes you afraid of a giant gorilla creature. It makes you afraid of a hyena-looking creature. These are the things that stalked our ancestors in the dark, that grabbed us around the campfires. Our ancestors dealt with these monsters, these cave bears and these cave hyenas and these giant dire wolves. And so there's something that terrifies us about something that's covered in fur and has big fangs or whatever. It's a predator. And so the form is very efficient at getting fear out of you and drilling into your soul. Now, there's another level with that when it comes to the reptilians. That part of your brain exists. It's that part of your brain that doesn't have a lot of feeling, doesn't have a lot of the amygdala, doesn't have a lot of care or nurturing. It's a very just like I simplistically do this. It's sort of robotic. And they're when you hear of the alien abductions that I've covered, and I'm doing that project now, I got 6 other guys that are working with me on it. It's crazy because when you feel these reports, you get the reports of them. They're draining your energy. But the reptilians and the insectoid mantis type creatures tend to be the creatures that give the people the creeps the most, because they know that there's no feeling there. They can look in their eyes, whether they're bugged out eyes or they're slitted up reptilian eyes, and they know that there is no compassion, no love, no feeling, and that there's not anything you can do. You can't reason with this being. It doesn't care. It is an evil entity, and that's its form. That is what it is. And so you see these creatures. Now, here's another thing that's misleading to some people, and I'm going to explain this. These things fight each other too. Like some people believe that, they're all on the same team. Not really. Evil is not loyal by its very nature. So the one thing we have going for us is that every evil being wants to be its own boss. They don't work well or play well with others. And so they do eat each other and they do kill each other. And so that is one thing that you can always count on, is for them to be a lot more disorganized than when you're dealing with God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit. It all works in unison, and it talks with one voice, and it does what it does. Now, these beings, each one has its own like clique or whatever, and like I said, they're not all on the same team, but they're fulfilling the same goal. And I believe their leaders are like warlords. And so you have that type of each one of them has its own clique or whatever. It raises your odds of running across something, that like, hey, you know what, this one group may not want something from you, but this other group does. And it's very much like that. And so I've heard of people telling me, well, I don't believe that they're demons or whatever because they're not on the same team. They fight each other. That doesn't mean anything. People fight each other too. It doesn't mean that, you have arguments and fallouts and things like that. But I can tell you this, there is strong, at least circumstantial evidence in my mind that there is all one thing that's going on. It's all happening, at the same time. And it's coming from the same source. Whether it's some sort of just the evil side of the force, so to speak, or whoever's pulling the strings. Now, I know that Satan is not one being. It's a race of beings known as the Shaitan. And in the Levant, whether you're Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, the Arabs, whether they're Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, they believe, and there are Jewish Arabs, people don't know that, but they believe that there are these beings called the Shaitan, that they are a race of beings, and they are the predecessors of mankind, and they were a type of jinn. Now, jinn is not Muslim. Jinn is talked about in the Quran, but it predates Islam by thousands of years. And it is a belief that was shared from the Persians and then all through the Levant, all the way up into Asia Minor, which is now Turkey. And those beings, the jinn, are like demons. That's what they are. Now, if you go to Ireland or, Wales, Scotland, England, they're called fae. You go to Iceland, they're called the elves. And they all look different. They have different names and different properties and different things that they do. And the ones in the desert have a name too, and they're known as like sand demons or devils, and they are responsible for doing all kinds of horrible things. But there are other ones that are basically benign. But for the most part, these beings are evil, and they're angry, and they hate mankind because mankind usurped them. When God created us, and so there is an anger thing. There's a problem there, and we were deceived from the beginning. And so, yeah, when you go way back in history, they're popping up over and over again. That's why you hear stories of werewolves going all the way back to the most ancient times that we can even fathom. The Tamil culture, the oldest language on earth, next to the cuneiform tablets, which is a written language, but the oldest spoken language. And in Tamil, they have legends of these dog-headed werewolf-type creatures, and they're not pleasant. They do bad things. And so when you look at this from a historical standpoint, not even just biblical, it's in every major holy book in the world. These creatures, and they always do the same thing. They cause hell on earth and havoc, and they will be here and doing what they do until they're judged at the end. And I do believe they have origins and roots in something that was way back in time.
I'm sharing this over in your group right now, Josh. And shout out real quick to Duke Sullivan, World Bigfoot Radio. Thank you for joining us. And he's in the chat. He said Dr. Neville Ketchum will be on his show again with updates pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were recording for that, and then it just didn't happen because of the equipment malfunction. Duke, I'd like to work with you. I like to work with as many people in the field as possible. Now, some people I know it's just impossible to work with them because they're not on the same page, and I get that. Like Ry Voss, he was on my show. I like him a lot. He's really good, does a really good job. Gary Brand, who was at the conference, he does a really good job. You guys, Abe and Bettina, you do a good job. And I'd like to work with you, Duke, if you'd be willing to collaborate with me. I'm so happy to see so many collaborations. I saw that Monica Rollins was on Christopher Garetano's podcast. I believe it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so just like last year, B, you remember how we had so many people collaborating and working together and coming together?
It was awesome. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this
and
year,
I'd like to see that, And Abe, get in touch with me so I can get you on some other shows and we can have you make the rounds and spread the message because you have a good message. And Bettina, same with you.
Sounds good, brother.
To see you back, Bettina.
I'm excited. I'm telling the people already, like coming to that conference got me reinvigorated and it made me want to get back out there and half the stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight, like me and Abe, and it was so much to discuss. I said, Abe, you're going to have to come back again Friday because it's so many areas to discuss when it comes to cryptids. It's not just, it's multifaceted and people don't understand that. Real quick, Josh, let me say this real quick, Abe, and I'm going to let y'all talk. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. But what I want to say real quick, Josh, like the same troll that showed up in your chat last night. At first, I thought, okay, maybe they're just trying to, just trying to, you know, get you to get different people to come on there. But tonight they came over here. Cassie came with the same mess, and I called her out and I
Mhm.
blocked her from the channel. But it's good. You called it out last night, and I was like, well, maybe she's not really doing it, but she was.
That was
But
Sunday
anyway,
night.
y'all go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm gonna take a quick. Yeah,
Yeah. What ended
but
up
y'all go ahead and
happening?
talk real quick. I'm gonna take a quick.
Sure. Yeah, she came on the chat and was trying to stir something up, and then it ended up, I don't know if you know about this, Abe, but she was trying to get me and Michael from AI. Like she was saying things about Mike, and then trying to say things about DA Roberts and
I remember.
yeah. And I was just like, I just had to say something to her and tell her to, and then we finally blocked her, but we gave her every opportunity to control herself and behave. But these people, they're just trolls. And you and I have talked about this in private too, that these people, it's like an assembly line. They'll just keep coming. If it's not them, it's going to be somebody else, and it just keeps happening.
They want division, and division is not good. Like I always tell everybody, I always maintain a love foundation, because that's what protects you from like negative people like the trolls or negative energies. But at the same time, whether you're seeing a cryptid, whether it's a Bigfoot, Dogman, a skinwalker, shapeshifter, alien, or UFO, you always got Jesus Christ with you. You can always rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name and put it to the test. If it disappears and vanishes, then you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Most of the times when I pray against it, I rebuke it, it disappears. So when I see like a puff of smoke and it smells like either pestilence or sulfur, I already know where it's coming from the hell realm, but because they like to deceive people, because they want people to believe in them. That's how they gain power over people. So I just rebuke them. There's so many times that they come to my house, Josh, at nighttime, come bang on my walls or make a growling sound outside. But I don't go outside like 2, 3 in the morning, because I already know they're just trying to lure me outside. So I just stay inside the house. But the activity you were having at your building, yeah, they can cause that kind of activity. I remember one time at my house back home in South Texas where I was going to go turn on the power from the meter, and when I was getting near the meter, the whole meter came off the wall, and it was trying to get me as a ground. I just had to jump out of my house, and when I jumped out of my house, it lost the connection between me and it, and the meter box landed on the ground. But if I wouldn't have done that, I would have got electrocuted. So they have those capabilities. What happened to you with the power shutting off and stuff like that. I believe there was a message that the person you're going to interview had something positive to say. Some good messages that were going to be relayed to viewers. That's why that happened. They didn't want that to go out. So I would say to you, just if you got holy water or some olive oil, put some crosses on your doorways and on your windows of your building,
Sure.
and to get rid of the negative energies.
I have
do that.
holy water there.
Yeah.
I did anyway. I think my wife might have brought it to the house, but I need to go and take some back over there and put some St. Benedict's up.
Because they know what's in your heart, just like they know what's in my heart. So they're going to try to disrupt something that can cause chaos and havoc. Where you might get upset because the equipment is not working and this and that. And things can happen. But that's what it wants. It wants chaos and confusion. But is behind that.
Yeah. I see that World Bigfoot Radio, he says, "Hi, Shaitan, the adversary is a title, not really a name." Yeah, you're right about that. It is a title. It's also a race of beings, but it depends. Everybody has a different name for them, and sometimes people get very specific.
In different language and different cultures.
Yeah, absolutely.
I witnessed one of my uncles, when my grandmother was still alive, that he was arguing with my grandmother. He was already, he was kind of like disabled. He was kind of sick. He started arguing with my grandmother. He said, "I'm going to go sleep on the porch." I was like, I'd say like 7 or 8 years old, right? So he's sleeping on the front porch. And next thing you know, he starts screaming. He's screaming like we're trying to figure out what's going on because we live side by side. And when he's holding onto the pole of the porch, man, and something's got his feet, and his feet are up in the air, but there's nothing there. and then he lets go of the pole because whatever was pulling was strong. He was getting dragged on the freaking caliche, man, on the dirt to the backyard. He was dragging him, but I was holding his hands, and I could have seen nothing. I could have seen nothing there that was pulling him because it was invisible. But something was literally dragging because I was holding. I could feel it trying to pull me too.
Wow.
So they do have many capabilities. You know how you're saying. I believe they can manifest to come into our reality, whether it be for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Depends. You know how strong of a stronghold they got over an individual that they can come in and they can, like you say, eat, cause havoc, destroy a body, and then just like they do the damage, they're gone, and nobody knows what happens to the individuals.
What are your thoughts on these pale crawlers, these humanoid-looking crawlers? I got another story on Monday.
The hair crawlers, what you're talking about is the white ones that are bald-headed ones.
Yeah, what do you
I've
think
seen something like that. And crawling on the ground. It was like pale in Elms Grove in the park, and I was looking at it like, what the hell is that? And it was just walking. It was crawling in the park. It was pale. What do they call them? The ones that live in the graves. What are they called? That they supposedly eat the like ghouls, something like a ghoul. That's what I believe they're describing, like a ghoul. They're white and pale. They're bald headed. That's what I believe they're describing. But it could be a possible shapeshifter, in that form also.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Bettina, on the crawlers, the rake?
I think
the rake.
I think. Well, for one, the fact that they're real pale like that, those are usually. If y'all remember, when it came to the Admiral Byrd, and I don't know how people feel about that, the inner Earth theory.
Oh, I do. I'm a big believer in that.
A lot of things that are in the caves, they're really pale. They're really in light like that, like or white to the point to where
albino, albino.
Yeah, because they're not getting sunlight. So I think that's what a part of that is. I think that they are. I think that some of these things come from the inner earth, and I really feel like that because even in the Bible it said, "Woe to the inhabitants on the earth, in the earth, and under the sea." It was like in the earth, like so. When you look at that, and Admiral Byrd talked about these things. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, you look at them, and then anything that like you have like these different creatures or whatever that coming out from underground, or things like that. I think that they're real. Some people, when it comes down to the crawlers, or at one point, what were they calling them? Not just crawlers, what were they calling them? The rake. And then people were saying, well, that's a creepy pasta. At the end of the day, regardless of whether that is a topo that has been created because people bring it up, I don't think that. I just think that these things probably already existed, just like Abe said a few minutes ago. In ancient times, they may have tools or anything else like aliens. Like some of them have pale skin, white skin, gray skin, because you got the grays and you got the tall whites. Okay, so how do we know that that's not a tall white? And I really personally don't believe that that these things come from outer space. I think that they come from right here in this dimension. And even what was it? J. Ellen Hynek and Jacques Vallée even came to the same conclusion on the Omega conspiracy. And it's hard to find that video on YouTube now. If you find that DVD, then get that. But they were not Christian. They were like, they're not Christian. So the fact that they came to the same conclusion, it's so many things when it comes down to it. Some of this stuff is demonic activity.
There's the UFOs. They surface up in every war that there's been, or something tragic. There's UFOs being spotted in the skies. But what else surfaces when something negative is happening? This demonic being. So, like you'd say, it's all connected together.
I believe that if we keep on pushing the way we are, and I believe that we keep collaborating and coming together as a community and keep doing what we're doing, a lot of things are going to be explained, and I think a lot of things are going to be open. Like Abe said, the veil is thinning, and getting people prepared for what is to come. Like it says in the Bible, men's hearts will fail. And talking about the Bible, what you said in the book of Job, is actually in Arabic. It's written in Arabic, and it was actually predated Genesis, which is really odd. A lot of people can't really understand what that means and the Elohim and what that is. And I have my own theories about that. But one of the parts in Job, which I always found disturbing, was when the Elohim were talking to Shaitan, which could maybe a plurality on both sides. Elohim is actually like a plurality, meaning like gods rather than God. But it's those that come from the sky, basically, and then those that were here on the earth, which are the Shaitan, and I think they were cast down. But it's like one of the things that they talk about is in that book, the Elohim asking the Shaitan, "Where have thou been?" And the response was bone chilling. It says that I've been walking to and fro upon and within the earth. And as a child, I was like really, really freaked out by that, because I was like, we went to Carlsbad Caverns as a child. And little did I know that years later, I'd be getting reports of Carlsbad and some of the weird things that are going on over there. It's not just a benign cave. I'm telling you, folks, this is, people don't know. They just don't get it. I mean, I get weird reports from people. And I also own a security company. I get a lot of security guards and law enforcement and EMS people that will talk to me about things, and when I'm out doing my job, and checking on my guards. And when I was setting posts, I ended up with a lot of contacts with law enforcement, EMS, and firefighters, and it would tell me some really weird things. And one of the things I've always believed was that there were people that are entities, whatever you want to call them, humanoids, that live down within the earth. It says in the book of Revelation, we'll be judged, those upon and within the earth. I mean, why does it need to specify that there's those within the earth? And it's a repeating theme. It's also in the Quran, and it's also in the holy books. In every holy book, it talks about the inner earth. It talks about beings living within the earth. It's not, and the Native Americans, they talk about the Navajo, the Hopi. I mean, they call them the ant people. There's all these different types of beings that live there. I think some of them, I think what it is that there is a different levels of these beings. There's those that are like civilized, about like our level, which I guess, honestly, we are probably a level zero civilization at this point, not even a one. But there are those that are on our level, and there are those that are way advanced, and then there are those that are just animalistic. And I think that those animalistic ones live on a little higher up. They're not as far down within the subterranean world. But I do believe in an alien technology. Now, I'll tell you what I believe. I don't believe that they need to fly their spaceships a million, billion, trillion miles to get here. I think that they can bend space and time very easily, and they walk through stargates, which
teleport.
Yes, and teleportation is something that spirits do very easily. One of the things that I believe is that when we pass on, or when we're out of our bodies, and when you're sleeping, a lot of times you're out of your body. When you're out of your body, you coexist with them on that plane of existence. And so to be, what's like it says in the Bible, to be out of your bodies, to be present with the Lord, because he's on that plane of existence, then you can see him. And when you come out of your body, typically people will see what looks like, they'll have an image in their mind of their arms, legs, whatever, because your body is still connected, your soul. But once it's completely severed, you don't look like a person anymore. It's really like you're like a sphere about this big, right? And then I would say probably about this big right here. You can see the selenite right here. How big you are. Yeah. You can see in all directions. And I got a case that I covered on the show, and I don't know if you guys have heard this one, but it was outside of Lexington, Texas, Caldwell area, Lexington, Caldwell. And this woman pulled over, and she didn't want to drive intoxicated. She said, I only had 3 drinks, but I'm a lightweight. I don't weigh a lot. I'm 130 pounds. She said she pulled over. She went to sleep, but when she came out of her body, this Bigfoot type creature was reaching in to try to grab her. When she saw herself in the mirror, she's like, I'm a floating ball of light. And the Bigfoot creature did not go for her body. It wasn't trying to kill her body and eat her body. It was swiping at her soul. Like it could see her. And she was completely convinced after this encounter and talking to me, I told her, I said, this is what I think. And she's like, I agree with that. I believe that too. And she was, very much of the idea that this creature, she saw it because she was out of her body. Like there was some reason why this creature was doing what it did. Now, I think that if people were to walk around this earth and see everything through the spiritual eye, they would be absolutely in shock at what is lurking around in your house. Not to scare people and sound like I'm the sky's falling, Chicken Little, whatever. But there is something going on, and these creatures are everywhere. I mean, they're all over the place. And you guys take these pictures, right? And I've argued and defended you guys and multiple people, and they try to say they don't see them, and I just let it go because they're looking at it through a physical lens, and they're not seeing this. Now, next week on Tuesday on my show, I'm going to be talking. I'm going to have 2 reports that I cover, and they are of people literally fighting physically with dogman or dogman type creatures. And in one of them, it gets really bad. But I honestly believe that they can take a physical form and they can manipulate things around you, but that still doesn't make them physical. Like I can put this hat on my head. This doesn't make it part of my head. It's just it's just an act that I'm doing, and it's something that I'm putting on. It's the act of putting this on your head, whatever. That doesn't make it a part of you. And I think that these things can separate themselves from that flesh very easily, just like we put a hat on our head. It's that easy for them. And I do believe that they're able to manipulate. And we talk about cloaking in the first story that we're going to get into on Tuesday on the podcast. You guys got to check it out. This guy in Tennessee, he absolutely witnessed these things cloaking and coming in and out of this cloaking. And I call it cloaking because I don't know what else to call it. And then there's also this mind speak that we talked about on this last Tuesday or last night's show on the podcast. This woman who was going through this in Tampa Bay, and she was talking about there was this mind speak that was going on between her and this creature. And this creature called her the B word. So, and I don't mean bee monkeys. I don't mean bee. I mean like the bad bee. The B word. Bettina? No, she called her the bad bee. And she was in shock.
They like doing that a lot. They like to mess with you through the mind, like telepathy or telepathic
communication.
They try to interfere try to find an opening into your foundation. That's why I always tell people, always maintain a love foundation. Be prepared before, during, and after. When you talk about you have to maintain a certain way to be a certain way, that's why I always maintain a love foundation, because through that love foundation, and when you forgive, their spiritual gifts of discernment. With those gifts, you're able to see them, and sense them, and because the Heavenly Father is with you, and He blesses with these gifts for a reason. And that's what I do. That's how I capture them.
Let me say something. Go ahead.
Somebody said something. A show with Duke and Wolf would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be great too. Y'all should reach out. Duke Sullivan, World Bigfoot Radio. He's out there in the comments tonight. And thank you, World Bigfoot Radio. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think you have a great show as well. Awesome. Go ahead, Josh. What you were going to say?
Well, what I was going to say is like Duke just made a point, and he said makes things confusing. Now we have trouble figuring out if we were seeing a classical ghoul or a GMO rake. Now, earlier in the comments, Duke made a comment that was very interesting, where he said that these things are an experiment that basically they killed their handlers and got free. And I've heard something similar. But I don't know. It involved Dulce. And of course, Edwards Air Force Base is another one that people believe. And then, of course, you have the military base right there at the LBL, which, you have the thing that Garetano talks about in it's Camp Hero, the defunct Air Force Base, the bunkers there with the Montauk Chronicles. Now, you have all these things, right? So what I believe, and I'm just saying that this is a possibility. I believe this is a possibility. I'm not saying 100%, but this is what I think could be going on. These creatures have been around for a long time, but the government the shadow government wants to control these things. So what do? Hypothetically, right? They create their own versions of them. So you have these old ones that are whatever, and then you have these newer ones that have been tampered with or copied, modified, whatever, maybe through demonic influence or satanic help, whatever. It would pretty much be I believe, and I've said this before about, and of course, Abe, you've been on my show, and Abe, the show that B and Abe have been on, you guys got to go check them out. They're very interesting. We go in depth, but I think at least 2 or 3 hours of both y'all. And I know Abe, he real quickly, he got this ability, I believe you did, from what happened to you when you were a little boy, when your brother was sick and you were around that bruja or curandera, whatever you want to call it. But she was able to use your energy as a child. And I believe we talked about it at the conference.
Yes.
Yeah. But what happens is that ability or whatever, they need that to harness that ability to look into the other side and go through the veil and actually create these creatures, these chimeric evil creatures that they're creating. But then they lose control of them if they ever really had control, and they're being manipulated into believing that they can control them or that they have control. And I think that brujeria is magic, right? It's
brujeria, yes.
Brujeria, whatever you want to say, but it's magic, right? But I believe that it's a science that we have not caught up to yet. It's really just a science that has not been perfected. So when people, they talk about, I believe in science, blah, 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 it kind of makes me laugh when they say that, because the science is there, but it's very incomplete. But some of these people will not believe until they can find something that they can point at and say, oh, that's scientific. That's the reality. But no, in reality, we're compromising what we know to be real, us in particular, because of our beliefs. It's very grounded in the spiritual. Now, the spiritual is at the top, the mind is in the middle, and the body is at the bottom of it's literally spirit, mind, body. And people so oftentimes give into the flesh and the physical, and then, or they think they can figure stuff out through their mind, when in reality, they need to be looking at it through a spiritual lens. And that is you're capable of that through Christ. I keep saying that, but another thing you need to do, you need to be prayed up. And you really, 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 like every day before your feet even hit the ground, you need to say a prayer, because when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, it can get maddening with these creatures and these spirits and what they do and how they come at you. Little innocuous things you think, oh, and then it kind of affects your whole day. You know, like one phone call answered at the wrong time can light, something up. And that's really how it is. It's like they know how to manipulate. And somebody said earlier, they can't read your thoughts or your minds. I absolutely do believe that they can. I believe that they have the ability to see, because it's like if you were to draw a picture of a two-dimensional being, I can see everything. We'll name him Tim. I can see everything that Tim is doing. He can't hide anything from me because he's on the second dimensional plane. I'm on the third. Well, they're on the fourth. And so from that fourth dimension, they can see everything we do. And they know everything we say and think and whatever. And they're able to manipulate that. Now, like I said, the only thing that stops them is God's hand. That's it. And it is by his grace that we live, his grace that we die. But unfortunately for us, we are trying to tell people, hey, you need to start looking at things from the spiritual lens, and they don't want to do it because what they see appears flesh and blood to them. Now, what I saw appeared flesh and blood to me when I was 15. But I'm convinced, though, that it was of a spiritual nature. I believe that there was a reason why I saw it. I believe that it may have been a chance encounter for us and for the creature, but not by God. I think God allows you to see things when you're supposed to and do things when you're supposed to. And it led us into where we're at now, because if I wouldn't have had that encounter, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
To gain the wisdom and knowledge, to gain the wisdom and knowledge, that's when you go through all those experiences, you grow spiritually. It's like obstacle after obstacle is just going to make you grow spiritually, and you gain the wisdom and knowledge to be able to share with the viewers and the people that might be going through something spiritually, which we're doing right now.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm going to get ready to shut this down. Abe, I'm going to reach out to you tomorrow since it's late. I got to get up and be at work at 6:45.
Brother
Josh, I'll reach out to Josh.
A lot of good points, Brother Josh.
Josh, do you still? Yes. And I want to know, Josh, do you still do your show on Fridays?
Yeah, Bettina, you're kind of breaking up a little bit there. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, do you still do your Friday show?
Yeah, I do. It starts at 9 p.m. Central, and it usually goes for about 3 hours. We have a guest coming on this Friday. I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's Paul Sinclair, who did the Wolflands documentary, and he's written a bunch of stuff about the Dogman / werewolves of England. So it's going to be a pretty good show. I heard you say Friday, and I was like, oh no, what am I do?
Well, I tell you, Abe, are you available Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, whichever.
I'm gonna be probably watching Josh show Friday. So Saturday, let's do Saturday. Matter of fact, I'm gonna reach out to you tomorrow. We'll set it up. But
Okay.
Y'all in the chat, I'm gonna bring him back, and me and Josh will be working together again, and Josh and Abe will be working together again. Abe, real quick to let you know, and we're gonna go ahead and shut this down. But actually, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live. We'll just talk real quick. But y'all, thank y'all for joining us in the chat tonight. I will reach out to those of you who I'm gonna have on the show. World Bigfoot Radio, I'll reach out to you again behind the scenes. But with that being said, everybody, thank y'all for joining us tonight, and have a good night.
Good night.
The stream. All right, so